server on their network. This will be entirely web-based. So as you see here, you put in the name of the teacher. We'll just put in my name here. You can mark as many of these or as few of these as you want. Just mark a couple of them in here. Okay. Just mark a couple of those, and then at the end you hit submit. As you can see here, I do have it printing out to this bottom console just to show that it's there, and then that it completed submission. It goes to a confirm sub page just to let you know that it did complete what it wanted to, and that's it. It's good. It's completed its job. Now if I go to the SQL code, as you can see here, I have create table. I can go and I can, let's see, I can search table data, search for text. Yep, there you go. As you can see, it has my name. This is, of course, set as the teacher's name. That's the primary key of the table. Yeah, but it's there. The record was added to the database and was successfully stored for use later. That's everything. Hello, this is Colin Corliss. This is the documentation video for my IB Computer Science Dossier project. For my project, I worked on a teacher evaluation form, converting it from an Excel form as it currently stands, which you can see a demo of here. This is the current form that was developed by the current administration for my client. It's essentially an Excel form which has a number of variables put into it. It calculates a score based off which selections are answered, but essentially it was very clunky. It didn't work very well. So what I've switched it to is I've developed an HTML form that when run through it has all the same types of inputs in it, and allows for the same type of it allows for it to be stored in a database, whereas the Excel forms are very difficult to navigate and difficult to manipulate because the school district needs to submit it to a new New Jersey program. It's called New Jersey Smart, but it requires teacher evaluations to be submitted based on their overall score. And it was really, really difficult to do this with the Excel form because it was stored in a specific cell, just kind of not in a database, which is very easy to access. So the idea behind this is it essentially, since the way the forms are developed are a bunch of different sections of forms. I have right here a set of arrays. I hard-coded it in for now, but the client may choose to do it a different way. That's up to them. I'll be performing tech support on it up until as long as they need it. But as it stands right now, this is a counselor form that I coded in, which has A, B, C, D, and then section titles. And then those are all put into a set of counselor objects. Now for the code itself, instead of hard coding in the types of things I was looking for, I decided to opt for a set of buttons instead. So not a set of, I opted to script it instead. That way, instead of having issues with having to change it later and having to make lots and lots of changes, it's a simple change it once and it fixes everything. I have this apply to both the radio buttons, since each question has a set of radio buttons associated with it. As we saw in the original, I replaced these checkboxes, which could be, in this form, multiple could be checked at a time. Now it's one gets selected and it returns the correct value every time. So checkboxes and then text boxes. The text boxes in the client's version, or well, when the client will edit it so that it includes the correct text. Right now it's just a testing set of text. Yeah, these text boxes are generated the exact same way the buttons are, just using a conjugated string with the section and question numbers so that they can be accessed later which is required in the next step, which I'll show in a second. Yeah, but I generate all the section followed by the question and all of that all together, and then I have it go into this form, which, as you can see right here, that's that generation stuff, and then this hidden box here is used for the score calculation, which is up here, calculation function, which adds all the answered questions up and then divides by whatever the number of questions was. Since the evaluator can choose not to select certain answers, saying that they do not apply, as you can see, right, there's ineffective and there's not applicable. Not applicable has a value of 0, whereas ineffective has a value of 1. But if a question has a value of 0, it's not counted in the calculation. So as you can see, it runs through, checks the value 0, and then it uses that to calculate it. Then from there, it's set to this hidden field so that it's submitted. And then it goes to the evaluation form servlet. This is a standard servlet. It'll run the doPost method. It didn't really need a doRequest, but doGet, but it runs a doPost anyway. So either way, I'm set. I do have a couple different testing objects in here, like for this, for example, I was having some issues earlier on, but these are just, they print out a console to make sure that it did reach that point. It's more of a debugging than anything. Here's my naming convention. I have that commented in a number of different places just to make sure. Because everything is returned as a string from a request, I did have to parse all the items using I for looped it instead of trying to just hard code it, because once again, a lot more code, a lot more time. Other than that, though, it's very straightforward. It just parses, adds them all to an array, and then parses them, and then it gets the score function, parses that, and then it creates a new form submission object, which, as you can see, is over here. This is the form submission. It is straightforward, just an object. It has a name, all the questions. This is once again for the counselor form, which has 4 sections, and then a maximum of 6 questions per section. As you can see, 0 to 5. I did number everything starting at 0 for use in array indexes, and that way it kept everything consistent across the board. There you go, just basic constructor as construction, sets the values, and then from there it inserts it into the database, which, as you can see here, I use a prepared statement instead of a instead of just having it written out as a string, because that way it checks for SQL insertion, and that way it prevents data corruption and other issues that could arise from people, say, trying to game the system. But that's very, very simple, just prepared statement. It pulls from that submission object which I created earlier, and then it submits it to the database, turns the updates, and that is all of it. Now I'll go through here and we'll run it quick just to demo how it works. I'm just running this on localhost right now. The client will of course change that because they'll be running it on a